Thank you so much for that. Today we're going to have a session with one of the most amazing women, and her name is Mary Esther. I see she has already joined us here.
Hello,
So,
good evening.
yes, good evening to you, ma'am. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much.
We are also doing great. Good to see you. How I almost said in person, but it's good to see you. I'm just going to allow you maybe for a second to tell our people why we have you today. And then when you are done, I would love to do a small introduction so that they know who you are and understand that the knowledge that we're going to gain today from you is nothing to take for granted. I would love to give you the opportunity to say just a few words.
Well, thank you, Fetsang. It's so nice to meet you and nice to meet everyone here. I'm so excited to do this for Africa. I really can't tell you how honored I am to do this. So yeah, a little bit about me. I started out as a nutrition dietetics clinical major back in college. And then, you know, life happens. I had children. I tried to continue with that vein of education, but I actually got into a holistic college, and I learned more from the holistic college about nutritional healing and what it takes to really heal the body nutritionally. So I embarked on research, and I really learned a lot about healing plants. And so I started using that in my own practice, which I had for about 30 years. I retired about 12 years ago, but I didn't really retire. I just started writing books and producing, you know, articles, and tried to start a magazine, but I got so busy. But then I also have been still, you know, helping people get well, just writing books and starting an online school, that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm really excited. And I've also really got into looking at ingredients in nutritional supplements. So I learned a lot in my research about a healthy nutritional supplement versus a nutritional supplement that does not is not absorbed in the body and not utilized properly in the body. So years and years later, when a colleague introduced the APL product line to me, we flew to New York and we met Sergey and his executives, and they told us about the way the products are processed and all of that. And so that was a technology that I'd never heard of before. So that's what got me endorsing the APL products and seeing the results that way.
Oh, thank you so much. I think now that you are actually explaining who you are and what you have been doing, it gives me hope that there is a lot that we're going to learn from you. And after learning and understanding, this is an opportunity that will guide us and actually give us the armor that we need, so that when we go out there to people, we go knowing exactly what we're going to say, and knowing that what we have been knowing all along and what you are going to be telling us is nothing but absolute truth. So I love that. And sometimes when you look at people saying I'm a nutritionist, you're thinking, but what is it that they want to learn? So it's good to understand that our supplements, it's something that you can take as a career and actually do it. It fulfills knowing that people are actually going to get healed from the knowledge that you have. So I'm glad that with the passion that you have, you finally met the company that matches that. So this is more like a marriage made in heaven.
You know, that is so great the way you put that, Fetsang. Am I pronouncing your name correctly, Fetsang?
Yes, you are, Fetsang.
Oh, Fetsang. I love that.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so, you know, the truth comes out eventually, right? Truth is the light in the darkness. And so when I researched a lot of the massive amounts of scientific research that's been done on these wonderful plants that are in the earth for us. And so, you know, when you look at the ancients and the past and how healers have always used these botanicals for healing the body, and it does address every body system in the body. And so they all work in synergy together. They contain so many different wonderful plant compounds that actually do heal the body. And the indigenous healers have always known that, you know, in every single country on earth have always known that. But when the scientists started saying, well, let's just try to prove all of these myths, they called them myths. But when they started researching them over many, many decades, and there's been like maybe 150 years of research, and even more so in the last maybe 50 years. But a lot of this science, it has been proven, has vindicated these plants and all that they do for the body. So when I started doing my research and writing my books, and I started teaching about these botanicals and applying them in my own practice and seeing the health results in my clients, no matter what ailment they had. It could have been something very minor to something, you know, terminal. But I saw the health transformations. And so I realized, though, that a lot of the a lot of the supplements out on the market, I don't know about other countries, but in the United States, they just, some of them early on weren't really doing the job, weren't really contributing to people's health and wellness and health recovery. But as years went on, I saw that the public became more sophisticated, especially with the internet. We were able to research more things more in depth ourselves. And so the industries started to respond to that need and to that consumer demand. So yeah, the science and the healing knowledge has finally merged together. And so that's what makes the APLGO products unique, because they're so absorbable and so utilizable, and that makes all the difference.
Okay. I would love to tell everybody who's on this call to, after knowing who you are, because you are not just an educator and author, you are also a founder and CEO of Health Mastery Academy. So those who have not maybe forwarded the link to other people to come and listen, please do that while we are still at the beginning of this session. It is going to be one of the best sessions we've had in APLGO. And I do believe some of you also agree with me that this platform is actually one of the best platforms you have plugged into, because we all know knowledge is power. So let me allow you to take, to start with why you are here, and we will all listen. I do believe that at the end of the sessions, those who have questions can then ask questions. And please, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you have a pen and a paper. We take notes, because after this, I'm sure we are going to hit the ground running. Thank you so much, Mary, for agreeing to be with us today.
Oh, it's my honor. Believe me, Fitzhong, I'm so glad that you invited me. So yeah, for those who are just coming in, I have a history of doing a lot of nutritional research in botanicals and what they do. I've reviewed literally thousands of over the last 40 years. And I don't think I'm exaggerating in all of the work that I've done, compiling nutritional healing protocols for my clients and introducing them to quality supplements for the ingredients that are in those supplements, and looking for companies that absolutely are the best for to offer people, so that they can notice the difference in their health transformations or health recovery or health improvement. And so, you know, often a lot of people came to me as their last resort. And back then, it was something that was their last resort. But now people are looking for nutritional healing and very effective botanicals and very effective supplements. So when I saw the technology in the APLGO products, I was very impressed. After many, many years of examining all these different supplements that are out on the market, I realized this was something very unique because of the way they are produced, the very unique, unprecedented way they are produced, but also the absorbability factor and how the body immediately puts them to use. And that makes all the difference.
Thank you, Mary. So I think I can allow other leaders as well to ask. I'm not sure if you would want it to be a question and answer session, because I'm thinking you've already spoken about the technology, which we know that it's the most amazing technology, and only APLGO has this technology. No other company has it. Would you be able maybe to tell us more about these ingredients? Because a lot of us know that when you take SLD, it is going to deal with your arthritis, bone issues, and your movement problems that you have. It's all about movement as well. So how would you then, with the knowledge that you have, explain it in details so that people understand that when they have SLD and somebody comes with a certain problem, they can recommend that supplement without doubting that it will work?
Oh, yes. This is why I produced the book, because I knew that the associates needed some real science to back themselves up with whatever assertions they made about the product. So I'm going to be introducing to you the 10 major body systems. And so the nutrient botanicals, the phytochemical compounds, the very unique way our DNA reads the DNA of plants. We are so compatible with plants. So based on that, I will be introducing to you what each drop does. And I'll go over them briefly, because I believe that if we do this again, then we can go over every individual product in detail, because there's so much science behind them. And when I compiled the scientific monographs for each botanical in every single drop, it ended up being a 531-page book, but it has all the science to back you up if you need to refer, to some very high details about the botanicals. But right now, I'll just give you an overview, and then we can do questions and answers. I love Q&A sessions because it brings out more knowledge from me. It's hard to summarize everything, but with the Q&As, I'm able to give you more detail, if that's okay.
No problem. We would love that information. And I think at the end, most of us, we would also love to know, how do we get hold of this book?
Okay, great. Yeah, because I just can't wait to share all the information in that book, and you can't possibly do that right in these calls and whatnot. But yes, let's go ahead and jump right into the 10 major body systems, and I'll go over what each drop does for the systems. So the major body systems, of course, there are many subsystems in the body. The body is highly evolved, highly complex, and beautifully designed. So the skeletal is of course the bone structures and the cartilage, and all of that, the connective tissues that are connected to the bones and to the muscles. And also there's the muscular system to allow free range movement and strength endurance. And then there's the nervous system. The nervous system is the central control system that responds to stimuli all over our environment, and internally too, always monitoring and communicating. And the circulatory system is for delivering nutrients and oxygenated, nutrients and oxygen in the bloodstream to give life to every single one of our multiple trillions of cells and the multiple trillions of biological processes that go on to keep us alive every day. So all of these systems need the full range of nutrients and as many botanical plant compounds as possible. That's why we must eat our foods from the plant kingdom, as well as the other food groups. And then there's the respiratory system, where our lungs and through the nasal passages, they catch all the particles that, and the immune system comes into that as well to protect our respiratory system. And then there's the digestive system, which is a very important thing to maintain, because you should be able to break down the food that you eat in order to absorb the nutrients. And it breaks all those gigantic food molecules down to their minute components so that they fit through the cell membranes of the intestines to allow those nutrients to enter the bloodstream and circulate and arrive at all the sites that need nourishing and regenerating and repairing. So again, the drops are immediate. You don't have to go through the digestive system. They are absorbed through the mucosal cell membranes in the mouth. They enter the bloodstream, and the body knows what to do with those very compatible nutrients. Then we have the glandular system, all the different glands in the body that produce all these different hormones. The body produces tens of thousands of hormones. So the hormones work very, very closely with the nervous system. So they always monitor the system and produce whatever biochemicals our bodies need to respond to whatever is happening in the body. And then there's the skin. That's the largest organ that we have. It's also a detoxification organ. And so that has to be properly nourished and maintained as well at the microcell level. Then we've got the lymph system, and that is another circulatory system entirely. We've got the lymph vessels and the lymph nodes. Sometimes we have people whose lymph nodes get swollen. And so that microcirculation needs to be cleared and free of toxins and synthetic chemicals and all of that in order for the immune system to assist the body in eliminating anything that does not belong in the body. And then finally, we have the urinary system. That's also a filtration system, and it maintains the quality and the health and the cleanliness of our blood and all of the, actually the whole circulatory system. So it's always helping the body eliminate a lot of toxins and solutes that are no longer needed in the body to flush them all out on a regular basis. So if we keep all these systems oxygenated and hydrated with the right type of water. We don't want to drink distilled water or tap water because those contain a lot of toxins that might have been drawn in from our water sources in the world. And so purified spring water, if you're fortunate enough to live near an underground spring and have that properly filtered from bacteria, of course, but bottled spring water, there's certain companies in the world who are very responsible that way. And if it says bottled at the source, that means it's been bottled at a spring or snow runoff or anything like that, and it's been filtered properly to maintain its purity. So waters are very different too. So staying hydrated is very important. And then staying completely nourished, with the protein and carbohydrates and the different types of fats from whole foods, not processed foods, because that takes literally the life force out of the foods. So all of these things must come together to maintain the body. And it's quite enjoyable, though, when you look at the bounty that nature offers, right? And it has all these beautiful colors and wonderful plants that are so compatible and so healing for our body. And this is all done for us in the drops. This is why I love them so much, because they have viable, active enzymes and phytochemical compounds that help detoxify and cleanse. They help the immune system. Sometimes they act on their own to destroy pathogenic or illness-causing organisms, things like that. So all these different nutrients come together, but they must be active nutrients from the fresh whole foods. And this is what's wonderful about the drops as well. Okay, so now I'll be looking at the different body systems. Now, in the book, I have some wonderful charts that associate all these botanicals with all these different body systems. And so, but now I'll give you an overview of what each product does for the body systems. Okay, so let's begin with the ALT, the ALT, and it's the alternative, called the alternative. Although, that's a lot of the indigenous healing medical systems based on nature and botanicals throughout the world don't call it alternative medicine. They don't call it an alternative. This is their main, way of healing the body. So, even though the Western medical system has infiltrated all over the world, it still, in many countries, is regarded as that one being the alternative and not the indigenous healing methods. So it's kind of fun to compare the two. So the ALT addresses the circulatory system. There's botanicals in there that have the phytochemical compounds that will help cleanse the blood vessels, maintain the flexibility of the blood vessels, and make sure the heart is pumping strongly, and just clearing out the bloodstream so that there are no blockages that might end up causing a lot of problems for the heart or the brain or any other area in the body. So the circulatory system is very, very important. The ALT has many botanicals that help with that. And then also the ALT has botanicals in it that will clear the respiratory tract. They will help the body's immune system eliminate a lot of the phlegm and a lot of the obstructions in the nose, in the trachea, in the lungs. And then also the ALT contains compounds that help clear the lymphatic, the circulatory system, the vessels, then the lymph nodes, and also since the lymph system also produces some immune cells, then it will help assist the immune and detoxification in that circulatory system. And then the Alta also helps with the urinary tract. It helps destroy a lot of the microorganisms, bacteria that will produce, infections or inflammation in the bladder and in the kidneys. So drinking plenty of water and having a very healthy, high water content, high fiber, nutrient dense food will also help your body eliminate a lot of these problems. But the drops, again, they contain the very, very compounds in these botanicals that have been shown scientifically and indigenously over time to help clear all of these problems that cause all these health issues. So what do you think about the ALT, everyone?
Amazing, amazing.
Able to breathe now.
Yes, and that's just one of the products, okay? So let's go ahead and breeze through the others. So the GRW, the GROW, I'm not sure why they call it GROW, but maybe it just grows health. I don't know, but it's basically one that helps the immune system very, very powerfully. There's a lot of different compounds in these plants that, and the book, of course, does show the scientific data. People often say, well, where's the science? I need to know the facts. Don't tell me that this product will do this, that, and the other without showing me the real science. Well, if you want real science, I've got 531 pages full of science, okay? And once you start looking at them, it's very easy, user-friendly, by the way, too. There's an encyclopedia in there, and if you don't know the term, then you can look it up right away instead of searching the internet for these terms. Because when you're talking about nutritional healing and nutritional physiology in the human body, it's a very, very complex science, really. We are extremely complex inside of us. So the GRW has a lot of compounds that help the body build stronger bones and repair the joints and produce stronger teeth, maintain your teeth. So the whole skeletal system, the whole structural system in the body benefits by so many of the compounds in the GROW. Also, there are compounds that nourish the nervous system, the brain, and all the trillions of nerve cells that help our body communicate from nerve cell to nerve cell, all these nerve transmission communication that is going on in the body. We can't do a single thing, not even thinking, without the nervous system being active and delivering information all over the body. Also, the GROW is, again, it has other compounds that help the circulatory system, the blood vessels in the heart, and as well as the respiratory system. So all of these are helping the immune system so that the body will protect itself more effectively. And then it also has compounds that help the digestive system, including helping the body produce digestive enzymes in the mouth, in the stomach, and also to help break down foods in the small and the large intestine and in the colon, maintaining the environment of the colon so that you have the right bacterial, aerobic, oxygen-loving bacteria that's very beneficial, and to help kill off any anaerobic or non-oxygen loving and illness-causing bacteria. Okay, so that's what's also going on with the GROW. It also helps the endocrine system, all of the glands. A lot of the glands are produced by the master gland in the brain, and so this will help the rest of the glands in the body produce the right hormones. This means for reproduction, growth and development, just regulating the hormonal system and communicating with the nervous system so that all the hormones are produced at the right times to help start and stop literally thousands and millions, I should say trillions of processes, literally trillions without exaggeration. So that will also help the endocrine system. And it also produces a healthier skin because of the microcirculation. All the blood vessels that are inside the skin layers deliver, oxygen and nutrients to the skin, as well as the lymphatic and the urinary system. So you'll see a lot of these drops they might have the same plants sometimes in these multiple botanical formulations, or they have similar compounds. Even if they're different plants, they might have similar these phytochemical compounds in them. So that's why a lot of these drops are simply pansystemic. They address a lot of body systems, if not all of them. Okay. So the GTS is also important for the skeletal system, the nervous system, the circulatory system, respiratory system. I mean, I've got these checked off all the way down. The digestive system, the endocrine, the integumentary or the skin, lymphatic and urinary system. So the GTS has so many different plant compounds in it that it actually addresses the needs for the maintenance and optimal functioning of the cells and all these body systems. How are we doing so far? That's on.
I think so far I could listen to you the whole day, and I'm not sure about the other leaders, but when I'm listening to you, it makes me realize that I need to appreciate the supplements more, because you now talking technical terms that we don't even know, and these technical terms, I think they will help us, even though we might not be able to write them. But when somebody comes with a medical term, you would remember that, oh, somebody's one day said this, and then you will be able to recommend the right supplement. Because sometimes we don't know the medical terms, and you would recommend something you think would work. But with you saying all of these things, they help me understand each and every supplement better. I think other leaders can also attest to that.
Oh, yes. I'm so glad you said that. It makes me so happy because it took me 18 months to write the original APL book. And for many, many reasons, I revised it. And so I added even more botanicals that were not in the formulations in case, we want to expand our knowledge. But yes, there are so many explanations in detail. And this is just going over the tip of the iceberg, literally, because there's so much more information that would be very exciting for all of you. And you will be so happy to introduce the drops. There'll be no doubt in your mind as to being able to help people improve their health as well. So yes, thank you for saying that. Okay, so the MLS, now that's one of my favorites because it has one of the 3 supplements that has just about every botanical, that you can think of that addresses every different body system. And again, the MLS does address all of these body systems that we've been talking about so far. So I've got those all checked off for all the different body systems. And as I said, some of them have the same botanicals as others, but then they have a mixture of other botanicals in the drops, in the individual drops as well. And so you have a full array of all of these wonderful nutrient factors that the body is going to pick and choose happily. And these molecules are so compatible with the human body at the microcell level. So much is going on that we can't see. All we see are the symptoms on the surface, how we feel, our energy levels, our moods, our emotions, even our life perceptions are based on how the biochemistry in the body. So all of these wonderful botanicals with their phytonutrient compounds and their active enzymes. Enzymes are very important too, because without enzymes, there is nothing that can go on in the body. Everything would cease to function. Cells need enzymes to be the catalyst to spark that kind of any kind of biochemical reaction and response to stimuli, that kind of thing. So the MLS is an all-around wonderful, if you want to start someone out on MLS, that would be the best thing because it addresses every single body system. But some of these other formulations, they have these specific botanicals that have been shown with peer-reviewed studies, not just 1 or 2 studies. You've got to have peer-reviewed studies. That way they evaluate all the studies that have ever been done on anything. And so they pick and choose the most credible and the best research, and the way the research has been conducted. All of this is so important. So I used just about almost all of the data. I used peer-reviewed studies, and that's very important. So anytime someone tries to tell you something, ask for the peer-reviewed studies. That is so important. Okay, so the norm, the NRM, that has a lot of wonderful compounds that on their own act to regulate your blood sugar and help the pancreas, which produces the insulin that is supposed to help take up all of the extra sugar out of the body to utilize it as energy in the cells. So, the NRM has the botanicals that assist in this process. Is everything okay? Okay, I thought I heard something. thought someone had a question. I think
No,
that Sang is, oh, there you are.
yes, no, there was no one who was asking a question. There's one leader who put this information on the screen so that many new leaders can understand and see each and every product as you talk about them.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Alrighty, so again, the norm, well, let's look at exactly what these botanicals do in the norm. They also have compounds that help the muscle contraction, help with the reducing inflammation in the connective tissues, that's the cartilage and the tendons. So it also has compounds that help the muscular system, and as well as the nervous system, the brain and the nervous system, the circulatory system, and then the, let's see, what else? Down to the digestive system and the endocrine, the glandular, the skin, and the lymphatic system and the urinary system. So not only does it help the body regulate blood sugar and help the pancreas produce insulin and all those other wonderful things that the body does to regulate its blood sugar. That's what some of the botanicals, the compounds in the botanicals in the NRM do for you. Okay, then we have the Power Lemon, which is the, you know, a lot of men like to take this one because they have a couple of specific botanicals in them that help them regulate their hormonal system. And so it's not like women need to stay away from the lemon or the men need to stay away from the apricot. The body in its own specific gender knows to take these precursors to the formation of the many hormones the body makes. And it can be specific to the gender or it can be specific to the body in general. So, you know, some people are afraid to take one or the other if they're the wrong gender for it, but that's not the case with the plant kingdom. The body will utilize these precursors to develop the right hormones according to its own genetic DNA information as far as, you know, deciding whether a person is male or female. So these two products will address every single body system. So all the different compounds are very, very good supplement for balancing the hormones. All right, then we have the RLX, the Relax. It's not a sedative kind of thing. It's not a drug. Of course, none of these are drugs. They're nutrients the body is looking for and desperately searching for in order to maintain itself properly and heal itself and restore itself properly. But the RLX contains a lot of compounds that actually nourish the nervous system so that when you're under stress, the nerves are already in their DNA, you know, makeup. They will know what to do in an emergency. They will respond appropriately. So they will help the body, the person, make better decisions, not overreact to stress, you know, just maintain a certain amount of calm and logic in meeting life's challenges. So these are very nourishing plants in this formulation that will help the nervous system. They also help the endocrine system, help your body produce the hormones. When you're under stress, the body produces stress hormones, all these different stress chemicals, and that causes a chain reaction of inflammation. So, you know, this whole chain reaction of problems if the body's not nourished properly. But these botanicals in this particular formulation are definitely have an affinity for helping the nervous system and the glandular system. Okay, then we have the SLD. And that's a wonderful mixture of compounds that help reduce inflammation. They also contain a lot of the compounds that help build strong bones and joints and teeth, and also for muscle contractions, muscle endurance, and movement, ease of movement. You know, if you do the correct stretching before you exercise, that helps improve the flexibility of the muscles and ease of movement of the muscles. And so the SLD contains the plant compounds that help the body move more easily. Also the nervous system. The nervous system is always communicating, especially with the nerves that are in the muscular system. So you don't want inflammation in your muscles. You don't want inflammation, you know, in your skeletal system or anything like that. So this tones down the inflammation by nurturing and nourishing the cells in those areas. And also it's wonderful for the skin. It's very nourishing for the skin. And also the lymphatic system helps clear out the toxins and the lymph system so that you have better circulation and reduction of the inflammation. And of course, it also clears the urinary bladder and kidneys, destroying any bacteria that might be in there that might cause irritation or any kind of infection. Then we have the STP. That also contains compounds that reduce inflammation and also help the immune system get rid of anything that's causing the inflammation. And that could be, being able to determine whether it should attack something in the body or not. So anyone with an autoimmune system, their immune system that probably has, from what I've seen and from the research I've done, probably hasn't been nourishing the body well enough so that the immune system and their DNA has been compromised. So again, plants will contribute correct segments of gene sequences in the DNA, and our DNA can recognize those corrections and splice it in and correct those segments of DNA that are damaged in our cells. So that's what's wonderful about plants, and so wonderful about so many of these plant chemicals that are in these plants. So STP, people have used it to stop inflammation, and if you stop inflammation and you repair what's damaged, then you're not going to have the pain. So that's why it also is not really a painkiller. It just corrects the situation.
And I think now we understand why it certainly become one of our best sellers, because as much as you say it corrects, then people need to understand that it's more than what we have been saying it is. So it's not just a painkiller, but you will get more corrections from what it will be doing in your body. I also love the fact that you mentioned power for women and power for men. We have one leader in South Africa who started taking power for women because he felt like power for men did not give him what the supplement must be doing. And when he started taking power for women, we all laughed because we thought, oh my God, what is he doing? But now that you have explained it, that nothing is going to happen, I think I'm going to start taking power for men and I'm going to test power for men and see whether I'm going to feel different or, But I think now it gives us that idea that even if you do not have power for women, you can still give women power for men.
Yes,
so
as women. Oh, go ahead.
I hope all the leaders are really listening and taking notes.
Absolutely. Both of those formulations, especially for women, if they're trying to correct, say, their menstrual cycles, or just if they find themselves really reacting, just overreacting to stress, really, and being really emotional. Sometimes when women's hormones are out of balance, they'll become very emotional and very irrational. And it's just their poor body, is just does not have the full balance of hormones that it's producing in order to balance those moods and reactions. So the compounds in both formulations are very good for everyone, really. And I hope that the gentleman who's taken the Power Lemon, the Power Woman, it will find better relief or whatever problem there is there. So I'd like to know in the future how that turns out.
No, he's happy about power for women. Trust us. He's happy.
Very wonderful. Yeah, it's just sometimes that missing phytochemical compound that the body needs to make a specific hormone. And there it is, there it is that the body needs and has been searching for in order to fix the problem. Okay, so now HRT, it's also a wonderful formulation to strengthen the heart and to make sure that the muscle contractions, not just in the rest of the body, but in the heart, are nice and strong, and just pumping the blood and getting the oxygen out to the rest of the body and all the different nourishment too. And then also it works directly with the nervous system. It's very, very closely tied to the nervous system. So that's also nourished. And that's also the communication channels are all the nerve transmissions to getting the information to the heart and out again is very, very important. So the compounds in that formulation are wonderful for those two systems. Also, there's other plants in there that will help improve the blood vessels, the flexibility, and preventing the rigidity of the blood vessels. Sometimes when blood vessels are so rigid, they get damaged easily, and then they start forming clots. And we all know how dangerous clots can be, especially when they break loose. They become the embolism, and who knows where they land. You know, sometimes they're just painful. Like sometimes the people will get painful sharp stabbing pains in the legs. And so that may be an indication of a clot that's obstructing the microcirculation there. But if it lands somewhere in the brain, you know, or somewhere near the heart, then it's going to be some major damage and some life-threatening situations there. So that clears it up and helps maintain that. And then the respiratory system too. So, you know, anything that improves the microcirculation so that things are functioning smoothly, nutrients are being delivered to the heart, to the brain, and all of that. So the HRT formulation is pretty stellar about that. And then also has other compounds that help the glandular system too, since the brain is the master, you know, of what hormones will be produced and how they'll be responding and regulating things in the body. So the HRT is very important for that as well. Then we have the ICE, the ICE. Basically, you know, it doesn't really have that many botanicals, but those botanicals are very, very well known, both in the scientific world and indigenous, you know, cultures throughout the world, that these compounds will improve digestion, help the body help the digestive tract break down nutrients, and reduce the gaseous upsets that happen in the stomach and the intestine, and helps things keep clear all the way inside the mouth, down the esophagus, into the stomach, to the intestines, and all the way out the door. So things will be much smoother without a lot of gastric upsets. So that ICE is very, 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 very effective for that. It's a good after meal digestion, you know, supplement, and also you can take it before meals or just anytime during the day, just to ensure that your digestive system everything is going smoothly in there. And the HPR. Now this one addresses just about every body system and with all of its botanicals, and it acts to improve circulation, detoxification. A lot of these botanicals will bind to synthetic chemicals in the pollutants in the environment. And so, you know, it helps eliminate these toxins out of the system. We have eliminative organs in the lungs, in the skin, in the colon, in the lymph system, and the kidneys. Those are the 5 eliminative organs that the body will try to eliminate toxins through. Sometimes when people have you know, skin conditions, you can see the body trying to detoxify and eliminate. And when you have breakouts in the skin, you know that the other eliminative systems in the body are having a problem to eliminate these toxins. So the HPR will help clear out the blood and cleanse the blood. And the BRN, the brain, I used to always have problems with people drinking too much coffee because they had too much caffeine, and that overstimulates the nervous system. It doesn't really, there's nothing in caffeine or coffee beans that will help your body produce more energy. Energy is produced through, you know, carbohydrates and fatty acids and proteins and things like that. So the cellular energy is produced through the nutrients, the vitamins and minerals, and the phytonutrient compounds. All those come together to help the cells work properly. It takes energy to work the cells and to maintain the cells, and to at the macro level maintain the whole body and help it keep moving, you know, help us have more energy. But the coffee bean in the brain is the green coffee bean. And when I did the research, I realized that the green coffee bean is so much more nourishing than the mature coffee bean or the roasted coffee bean. So with all of the enzymes and the phytochemicals that are present in the green coffee bean, then that has so many more health benefits. You know, so I was finally okay with the coffee bean after seeing what the green coffee bean does in this botanical, in this formulation, I'm sorry. So the BRN will address the nervous system and help the nervous system function properly. All the neurons and all the nerve transmissions, all the communication pathways are maintained, and a person is naturally becoming more alert. when they're taking the drop. Also, there's compounds that help the skeletal system, and then the circulatory system as well. And there's compounds in it that help the digestive system and the glandular system, as well as the lymphatics. So there's a lot of cleansing in the BRN formulation as well. So in order for the brain to function properly, you've got to eliminate all the pollutants, and so and improve the oxygen delivery to that brain. So this is what the those botanicals do. And also it helps clear out the urinary tract. So it's like a light detoxification, a gentle, just improvement in how the whole circulatory system works. And that's all I have for. I don't have anything for the BTY, although the BTY, the beauty, is also a multi-botanical formulation, and I have yet to add that to the book. If I have another book coming out, I was planning on having another volume because I thought I need to do more work on more botanicals. And so the botanicals and the BTY will probably be in volume 2. But I can tell you that a lot of those plants contain all the compounds to help the skin regenerate itself properly and nourish the blood vessels under the skin, just improve the whole circulatory system and detoxify as well. So, you'll see in the ingredients that a lot of these drops have some of the same formulations. But when you put botanicals with other plants, different plants that are in the formulations, then they're going to have the synergistic effect that have a slightly different effect on how the body goes about nourishing itself.
Thank you so much, Mary. We really do appreciate your time with us here, and we appreciate more the knowledge and the time you have taken to make sure that you do your research so that you can educate people around the world about the botanicals and technology around our own supplements. And I think as one is sitting here and I'm thinking, we often have or we would have this fear, especially when you give somebody a supplement. For example, I will make an example with somebody who is diabetic. So you would give somebody a supplement, and instead of the blood sugar levels going down, they go up before they can go down. And you would have these people panicking. What would you say we say to them?
Yes, maintaining the blood sugar is one of the most important things you need to do. You don't want to overtax your pancreas to try to produce insulin constantly to try to take that blood sugar, excess blood sugar, out of the bloodstream. That can be so dangerous. But if one is a type 2 diabetic, then that is you can also make sure that you're taking in enough protein and the whole food carbohydrates, none of the refined sugars. That spikes the blood sugar very, very high, very fast. And the pancreas rushes to produce that insulin, try to get it out of there. So it can get very, very worn and tired trying to do that. And pretty soon it's not able to do that. So you want to maintain your diet and make sure you're eating whole foods, a very well-balanced diet, no refined foods, no junk foods. Make sure that organic foods are even better, because the synthetic sprays can also affect your hormones and affect the way your body regulates its blood sugar. So all of those are very important. And of course, when you're eating healthy diet, you're getting all the vitamins and minerals that you need. But the drops, their main draw is to offer the phytochemicals. And those phytochemicals, I don't know why they're not considered essential, throughout the world, but to me, they are. After all I've learned about what they do, they address every body system. They help regulate and bring back to what is called homeostasis, or biochemical balance in the body. And so the drops have an abundant amount of these different phytochemicals that help regulate the blood sugar. And so I have found that even though it has 1.7 grams of sugar, which is the only type of sugar that crystallizes and protects the outer coating of the drops to preserve the nutrients. In the candy industry, they all know that this kind of sugar crystallizes and does that for the coating, but it only has 1.7 grams of that kind of sugar in it. The other carbohydrates are from the juices of the plants, and that's the best kind of sugar that doesn't spike the blood amount, the sugar in the bloodstream. So it helps, regulate that glucose at all times. So it helps with that. So it counters the effects of any kind of sugar. But if a person is eating way too much refined sugar in their diet, and then they take a mouthful of different drops, and that might drive it over the edge. You know, I had one case where someone was eating carbohydrates all day and they were a diabetic, and they popped 5 drops all at once, and that just was enough to, you know, get them over the edge. So as long as your diet is healthy and you know, it's nutrient rich and you're hydrated and you're balancing your meals, then the NRM should help, you know, improve that situation.
Thank you so much for that explanation. I do have our leaders now. They are ready to ask you questions. I do have Dichaba and Julia. I'm not sure who raised their hand first. If Dichaba is a man, can you allow me to say ladies first? Then Julia can come in. Is Dichaba a man or a woman? You can unmute yourself. Okay. Maybe while he's still trying to do that, Julia, you can come in quickly.
Good evening. Oh my goodness. Isn't it a beautiful, beautiful night today? Well, it is night here with us here. I don't know where you are, Mary, what time it is of the day, but we are really enjoying having you here. We are so honored. We've been seeing you everywhere being interviewed, and we've been praying that one day we will be able to speak to you. So thank you so much. We do appreciate you coming through. And we're hoping to speak to you more often to get a better understanding of our supplements. So the first really question that I wanted you to really elaborate a bit and make us understand, when you started, you talked about that you did a peer review study. Maybe just explain it in simple terms to us how that is important compared to other studies. Because usually when we speak to scientists and doctors and others, they do ask about these things and we have no idea how to answer them. So my first question will really just be that, make us understand what that is and how important it is in terms of studies. Thank you, Mary.
Oh, yes, Julia. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm so honored to help you and be here. So yes, okay, so the scientific method, we learned that in high school, and they teach us that scientists have to form a hypothesis and they have a theory and they have to prove it through their experimentation process. And so that's just a basic, you know, way to prove something or come to some kind of scientific conclusion. And so all of the science that's done out in the world is based on this kind of you know, perspective. So when a group of scientists get together and they test out, and these tests are very elaborate, very detailed, very technical, and they have to lay it all out in detail in these scientific journals in their reports. And they have like an introduction called the abstract, or maybe you know, some short synopsis on what they did. And then they go into this elaborate, you know, page after page, chart after chart, trying to prove that their hypothesis or their theory was correct. And also they take the indigenous, you know, cultures, and they say, well, you know, this has been done in this culture for thousands of years. Let's see what the science is behind it. So this is the method that the whole world, all scientists in the world refer to. And every botanical has the scientific name, so that no matter where you are in the world, no matter what university you're at conducting any research, you're going to know that that's the same botanical, because even a botanical in the same family can be very, very different. In fact, sometimes you have something that can be potentially toxic versus something that's very medicinal. So that's why the scientific name is so important. So you put all this data together, and over time, you have groups of expert panelists, you know, who are PhDs and doctorates and have a lot of research behind them themselves. They get together in these panels and they pull out all of the scientific research that's been done all over the world on any certain, in this case, botanical. And so when they I mean, I've seen sometimes when they say that they pulled out over, you know, 1,500 research papers on one botanical alone, or sometimes even a phytochemical in a botanical. So it can get pretty overwhelming when you're a researcher like me, trying to get all this information. So I'm very grateful for these peer-reviewed studies, because they give you a wonderful review of all of the different health benefits that all of these scientists over time, all over the world, have discovered about any one botanical or phytochemical compound in a botanical. So that's why it's important to ask for peer-reviewed studies. You can research on your own and find a study here and there, and sometimes doctors and people who don't know, or they're just trying to make a quick buck, money, and they will quote a scientific research paper. But after examining so many different peer-reviewed studies and seeing how it all works, when you look at something that's individual like that, you'll see all the different things that are missing, and you'll see that their conclusion may or may not be credible. So that's why it's important to, when you do your research on the internet, always include the phrase scientific journal. If you're researching anything at all, that way you'll only get the scientific papers and look for the peer-reviewed studies.
Oh, okay. No, thank you so much for that. It helps me a lot in terms of us being able to speak about that out there. So I'm just going to ask one more question and then allow the other leaders to ask more questions. So normally I would speak to someone and say, these are supplements. And then they will say to me, but I'm taking zinc, I'm taking calcium, all these other capsules that they're taking. So how is it different what we have and what those capsules can actually do, or tablets? I don't know what they are, but then they will tell me that, but I'm taking supplements. And so we sometimes just don't know the difference. We don't know what those do compared to how powerful our drops are. So how can you help us with that?
That's a great question, Julia. So let's take a typical vitamin mineral supplement tablet that's out on the market. You'll see how large they are. And if they are smaller ones, then they break them up into 3, 4, 6 tablets for one dose. And so that meets the minimal requirement for the body, and it's usually not enough for a typical adult to have so little of that kind of nutrient. You can get, if your food is nutrient dense, you're getting plenty of vitamins and minerals there too. And if your supplement is organic and whole food based, if you see a lot of greens and fruits and vegetables and berries and all these fatty acids and all these other wonderful, nutrients that the body needs, if that is trans, especially if people get busy and they don't do levels up, that kind of thing. But in the drops, now I asked about this myself. I said, are there vitamins and minerals on it? Because you don't see that on the label. But it is too small to add all of these large molecules, and the drop would be gigantic. Okay, so we'd be eating, like those big candy balls they have. But yeah, so it's not that. There are phytochemicals that are tiny enough to fit into the drop. Everything is happening in the micro scale. We feel like, how can that work? It's so small, when actually we're in the middle of the infinite universe. It's infinitely smaller than us and infinitely larger than us. So it's not really that small. And so there's a lot going on. If you ever see any kind of a plant cell or a human cell, you'll see there's a lot going on in there. It's a factory of biochemical processes and explosions going on in these trillions of cells in our bodies that keep us alive. So we need those phytochemical compounds as much as we need vitamins and minerals. So if you want to take a vitamin and mineral tablet and just make sure your diet is complete, nutrient dense and well balanced, then that's great. But the drops have those extra compounds and those extra electrons. It's difficult to have those antioxidant electrons at the atomic level to neutralize a lot of the free radicals in the body. We are bombarded with, it's in the atmosphere, it could be in the water, it could be in the food we eat. A lot of these toxins that come, and we are exposed to synthetic chemicals in cosmetics and in skincare products. All of these accumulate in the body. and the body's always trying to detoxify and eliminate them. So these phytochemicals, not only in the drops, not only help cleanse, but they also contain those extra electrons to neutralize these free radicals so that they don't damage our cells and our bodies can eliminate them safely and properly.
Thank you so much. Okay, I have more questions, but I'm not going to ask. Let me allow other leaders to please ask their questions. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
There is a lady who wanted to ask a question before Julia. Unfortunately, she could not unmute her. Her question is, can you give HRT to somebody who has heart palpitations? And where is that question? Heart palpitations, now it's gone. I think it's cardiac arrest, something like that.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
I was saying that was the question. Yes, and cardiac failure.
Okay, yeah, heart palpitations are indication that it could be a mineral deficiency. So the body requires minerals to help the heart, function properly, to contract and do all the muscle work properly. So I would have her check with her medical provider to make sure that she is not nutrient deficient. The B vitamins also are important also, and all of these nutrients are in whole foods. So she has to make sure she's eating a lot of the foods that will provide these nutrients, or take a good supplement to do that, to regulate that. The phytonutrient compounds in the drops do contain, like the HRT contains the hawthorn berry, which is very, very well researched and very well known for regulating the heart muscle and the contractions. So, I would definitely do that. But if she's in cardiac arrest, of course, there's no way one can, or he, whoever she's referring to, there's no way one can eat something, under such emergency, dire, life-threatening conditions. So hospitalization, emergency, is required, of course, in that situation. I hope that answers the question.
I hope they are answered too. And then we do have Liza Plaki. Ma'am Liza, you can ask your question.
Oh, thank you very much, Leader Fetsang. My question is one. I had a prospect which was recommended for brain, and she used brain. After the second lozenge, he had nose bleeding. So when I reported it was said that he can keep on taking it. I want to know what's the problem, because he stopped taking the brain. Now I was asking, what could have been the problem? Because as I heard from Mary, he said that the coffee in the brain is a green coffee bean, and it helps with the nervous system. Is it maybe that person had a problem, or what?
Okay, the blood vessels have to be maintained. They have to have that flexibility and the strength. And blood vessels have tiny muscles in them that actually push the blood through. And if anything is damaged like that, then it's going to impair the circulation to the brain. Okay, so it's important to maintain the blood vessels. Again, diet and getting all those nutrients in there all the time, so your body can do the repair work and improve that functioning. And so, maintaining the brain is so important for that. I'm sorry, can you repeat your question? Because I started thinking about all these other related issues that associate with that.
Okay, my question is, Mary, I gave the lady the brain as it was recommended for him. And at the second lozenge she took, she had a nose bleeding.
Oh, yes.
And then they said she must keep taking it until she stopped herself, because she was always nose bleeding.
Okay, yes. So I was on the right track. I was on the right track. Okay, good. I wanted to make sure I was going to answer the question. So yes, again, people need to look at their diet, and because everything happens for a reason, it's usually a nutrient deficiency and a malfunctioning in the body system. So people who have nosebleeds, they have weak capillaries, weak blood vessels, because they have the tiniest blood vessels in the nose. And so anything can disrupt that, rupture that, and cause nosebleeds. But if it's something more serious than that, then, she does need to have it checked, make sure that all the tests, that she doesn't have any kind of blood disease or anything like that. I'm not a medical doctor, but I understand how nutrients work in the body. And I've seen over the 40 years, of the 30 years I had my practice, in the last 10 years, still taking on clients once in a while and researching and seeing what these botanicals do. So a lot of the medical people don't have that kind of knowledge. So it's important to work with a medical person. And that's what's good about presenting the scientific data to these medical people, so they understand where you're coming from. They have to give respect and credibility to this industry, the nutritional industry, and know that there's a reason why it's a multi-trillion-dollar industry, because it works. Apparently, people keep buying more supplements every year. And so this industry is really growing. So everything has to be looked at when something like that happens, make sure she's in good health. But if it's an occasional nosebleed, sometimes children will get nosebleeds if they're dehydrated and they're playing out in the sun too long. And if they're not eating foods high in bioflavonoids, which is a type of fiber that the body converts to maintain the integrity of the blood vessels as well.
Thank you very much, Mary.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Yo, I see
Thank you.
I see a lot of hands now coming. I noticed that Mom Kenzie had her hand while you were still talking. So Dr. Mofungulwa, I notice your hand. Ndate Mohapi, I also notice your hand. Can I give a chance to Mom Kenzie to ask, and I'll come back to you. I will come back to you. Mom Kenzie?
Good evening, family. Mary, thank you so much. You are highly appreciated. In this platform tonight, I've got two questions. There's a 5-year-old girl, whenever she has to go to the bathroom, like the wee is so close, like she can even wear, and sometimes she even wets bed. Ne? That's first question. And then the first time I raised the hand, it was the time when we were talking about power for men and power for women. And I'm just sharing this to all our leaders who are in this call tonight to say, we've had a challenge of not having some of the stock. And however, most of us had power for women. And we didn't know that we can give power for women to men. So Mary, with that being said, and you, with this education tonight, you have made us not to have, in our language, you say we have work clubs, like to think outside the box. And with that being said, my gratitude to you and to this lesson that we are having for free tonight. We must be open-minded and we must be looking forward to helping our community out there. That's that, and thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure and my honor, as I've said. Thank you so much for your comment. So yeah, if you'd like me to answer to what you mentioned about the bedwetting, I can respond to that if you'd like.
Please.
Yes, please.
Okay, so it's called micturition, and sometimes when a person goes to sleep, their hormones are malfunctioning in order to talk to the nervous system to not release the urine, into the bed. So that's a hormonal thing. It could be. So again, complete nourishment and all the nutrients possible in the body, and not drinking, a lot of water before going to bed, 2 hours before going to bed. There should not be any water intake for someone who's having that problem. Hormones also, I'm not a psychologist, but I understand that sometimes the hormones that are produced under stress will also impair that kind of communication in the body. And or it could be, if it's an older person, the muscles in the bladder or in the contractions in the uterine that will hold the water back, in the body. Sometimes that, if they're weak, then they may not be able to hold it through the night, kind of thing. So there's a lot of reasons for that. both psychological and physiological, no matter what age a person is. So that must be addressed. And usually it's been my experience that just totally nourishing the body habitually, regularly, and really nurturing and taking care of oneself, that will usually end that problem.
All right. Thank you so much, Ntate Mohapi.
Thanks very much, Leader Fetsang and our guest, Mayor Gilbert. I have got a lady, a prospect who is diabetic, also hypertensive, and unfortunately she's doing kidney dialysis on weekly basis. And I gave her NRM, which is norm, and unfortunately it shot the blood pressure high. And I'm wondering as to whether should we give something else? What is the cumulative effect of multiple drops? Wouldn't it overload the system? Your comments on that, please. Thanks. Over.
Yes, thank you. How often is the person on dialysis?
It's on a weekly basis, once a week.
Once a week. And what's the functional level of the kidneys? Do you know what percentage?
No, unfortunately, I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they're probably pretty functional, relatively speaking, if it's just once a week on dialysis. So they tell people who are on dialysis not to drink a lot of water, which is very concerning because it's the kidneys that flush out the toxins, and drinking a lot of water will flush out, through the kidneys. But if they're unable to do that themselves, or if the kidneys are having a problem doing that, then I would have to minimize the drops, because they do have the sugar in it. And so, if you're not drinking pure water, then anything else, even tea, has solutes in it that the kidney has to filter out. So, keeping to a healthy diet, of course, will ensure the purity, help ensure the purity of the blood, but still it needs water to flush things out. So I would not take a lot of drops in this case, just 1 drop a day, possibly 2, at the most. Again, I'm not a medical doctor and I don't prescribe or treat or, cure any disease or anything like that. I'm required to say that here in the United States. Don't know the laws in other countries, but just to be on the safe side and to let the medical people know what this person is taking at all times, keep that communication open. They may not understand, but if you present the science to them, they might have a glimmer. Hi, Susan.
Okay, I need to mute that leader. I'm not sure who she is. I'm not sure if all the leaders are covered, if they still want to ask questions. I'm cognizant of the time, and I'm just wondering how much more time can you give us, looking at our time this side and probably your time that side. Can we still use your services? Okay, now I do have, before you answer that, I do have 2 hands, but how long can you give us your time?
Yes, I'm happy to help answer however many questions you have for me.
Okay, no problem. Dr. Anakoka, your hand was raised.
Yes, I do appreciate. Thank you very much for having given me an opportunity to ask this wonderful question. I have seen that the APLGO products have been classified as DNA suites. What would be the simplest way to explain to the layperson what that means, DNA suites?
I'm sorry, DNA, what was that? DNA
Sweets.
sweets? Like
Yes.
candy? Okay.
Candy.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Some people refer to it as DNA candy. Well, as you know, the process is that it extracts the micro components inside the cell, the mitochondria, the energy producing factories, the protein producing factories. All of those organelles inside the cell are released into the elixir, the vat, and then they are in the simulation of an electrical storm. They're adding the electrons, right, to improve the negatively charged particles in the plant. So all that is maintained in the drop. So when you explain that to the layperson, just have them understand that the DNA is the central control with the brain. It contains all of the genetic information that can be damaged whenever someone is ill. And so the nutrients will help repair that damage by reading the DNA from the plants and splicing it into the damaged areas of the DNA of any cell that's damaged. So therefore improving the functioning of the cell. I think that's as simple as I can think of for the layperson. Of course, people are intelligent, they're going to understand that. So I would just stick to how plant DNA is read by our own DNA and splices out the genetic codes to improve the functioning of the cells. Our cells know when there's a disruption of our genetic code, the instructions of the cell, and therefore whatever body system that the cell is associated with. So that's a good question, Doctor. I know that's a common question.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Mary. There's one question I will read. Can I give Mam Lesego a chance to ask? Then I'll go to the person who asked the question and go back to the gentleman.
Thanks, Fatan. Thanks, Mary.
Mine is actually not a question, it's more a comment. To thank you for this evening session. It's shed a lot of light around, what our DNA drops can do. And I hope we can have follow-up sessions that unpack each product in more detail in terms of its ingredients and what each one really does in terms of the body and the anatomy, and ensuring that we're able to empower, our clients, our customers, our prospects in as far as the tech side of the products are concerned. So yeah, thank you very much. And thanks, Fatan, for driving the session.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Lesego, for the comment. Yes, I'm happy to do that. We can go over individual products. It takes a while, but I can summarize it. And if someone wants more detail, they can certainly get the book.
Thank you. I do have Andisa. She had questions. She's got 4 questions. She says, how effective are the drops? Are there any guarantees, I think, on how effective they are? Number 3 is, in view of the overlapping healing properties, how can one make the right choices? And who should take the supplements? Those are the 4 questions. So how effective are they?
Okay, well, they're highly absorbable, first of all, and they are able to maintain the viability or the active compounds, the enzymes and the phytochemicals. Those are very active and they will go to work right away in the body. So these drops are live, so they're not overcooked. They maintain their viability of what plants do. So they're immediately utilizable. The DNA recognizes these molecules and immediately allows them through that very picky, very identifying cell membrane in every single cell in the body. So the cell membrane has, when nutrients or other things arrive at the cell membrane, then it won't allow certain things that don't belong in the body. The body's able to detect what belongs in the body and what doesn't. So these drops and their nutrient compounds and their viability, they're allowed through that cell membrane, the very picky cell membrane. So they enter the inner environment of the cell and go to work and do any repair work or any energy producing that's required.
All right. I think the second question is not a full question because I don't understand it myself when she says, are there any guarantees to what? Maybe we can give her an opportunity to say it over the mic. And then the third question was that, in view of the overlapping properties, how can one make the right choices?
Okay. So the only guarantee you have is to nourish your body properly and maintain the system so that it recognizes those molecules. And the drops have the exact molecules the body needs to maintain itself. It has a full array of all these different wonderful nutrient factors that are already so familiar to the body. And if they contain those active compounds, those enzymes that are the catalyst for every single action at the cell level, and those phytonutrient compounds that are active with the negatively charged particles, the antioxidants, the negatively charged ions, that's a guarantee that your body's going to utilize them, because that's exactly, your body's a living organism, and it needs live living things to put into the body.
Who should take the supplements?
Yes. So I had a case where a child ingested a whole box full. I don't know which drop it was, but the child, when he went to the restroom, the parent discovered that he had intestinal worms. So his diaper was just full of worms. And so that's how detoxifying and cleansing the whole box full of drops were. That's a lot of sugar for a little body like that. He was 3 years old, I believe, but he was unharmed. The nutrient compounds compensated for all that sugar, which was temporary. Of course, it wasn't habitual, I hope. Although for a child to have worms like that, they weren't large ones, they were visible, but small, very small. So it shows that the human body, if it's not taken care of properly, no matter what age you are, will always produce or create an environment that will nourish and feed the wrong thing, the wrong microbes. So that's a lesson that it's important to take care of the body and not abuse it, and not take in the wrong molecules. Refined sugars, refined flours, white rice, all of those refined carbohydrates feed those illness-causing microorganisms. Or sometimes, if the body's able to host, these. I don't know how long the child had, these organisms in the body, but I think it was a fortunate thing, really, that the drops were able to remove those microbes. So, you have to know what's in the drops. You have to understand the botanicals and what they do for the body, which is the main reason I wrote the book. I knew that the world was going to need the science behind these drops in order to be able to effectively help their customers or their clients or their patients. So it's important to know, that way you know to make the right choice.
I think it would be, that was a great answer, but I think to answer her as well, add on to what you were saying, Andisa, I would say everybody needs to take them irrespective of the age. Looking at our environment currently, there's a lot of toxins that we inhale, and the world is just full of positive ions. So the sweets are infused with the negative ions, which are going to help you live a better and a healthy life. So anyone should supplement. Then I do have Dr. Lebogang Maseko online as well. Lebogang?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for the chance, and thank you for the nice presentation. Mine is just a quick, simple question, actually two. With regard to the peer review, is the peer review on the botanicals or the peer review on the drops themselves? The second one is, pardon?
Go ahead.
The second one is, where can you get access for those peer reviews, and also how can I get access to your book? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Lebogang. So the peer-reviewed studies refer to the botanicals and or the phytochemical compounds that are in the plants in these formulations. There has not been a formal study done on the products themselves, and that is a very important distinction, especially I don't know about Africa, but here in the United States, we have to be careful not to make medical claims about products unless they have been backed by clinical studies on the products themselves, not necessarily on the ingredients. So, my role is to educate the associates to the health benefits of the botanicals and their compounds. So that's what I base what I'm teaching on. So, over the years, I have noticed, based on the nutritional science that I've researched, when I compiled nutritional protocols for my clients, put together all the science and presented to my clients, this is the information I found for the particular ailments that you have, aside from the side effects of drugs, of course. So, putting all of that together and educating people, that's very important to know the difference between, has there been science done on the products themselves or the ingredients? Okay, so and there's literally thousands of research that's been done on the botanicals and their plant compounds. So when, in my experience, when I put together that science with any product that's out there containing those ingredients, then you get results. And again, it's the quality of the product. And in this case, the drops are, like I said, viable, they're active, okay? And so that's why a peer-reviewed study is so important, because they take many, many studies, hundreds, thousands of studies, and they weed through them all to determine which are the most credible, and that's what they base their review on. And the review panels are highly qualified individuals that have been in the industry and have been in the research arena for many, many decades. So they're as credible as you can get so far, that we've been able to have some kind of universal credibility throughout the world as far as presenting scientific data.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Lesedi Senelo.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Lebogang, you can go ahead if you had something to say.
No, I was not asking because I'm doubting the products. I'm in love with the products. They work wonders. I just wanted the distinction of whether the peer review was on the products or on the botanicals.
Yeah, on the botanicals.
So that's what I was asking. Not because I doubt the products. The products are wonderful. They work wonders. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, and regarding your book, I also asked about your book. If
yes.
Where can one get? Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. You can order it through Amazon. The title of the book is Potent Superfoods for Lifelong True Health, by Mary Esther Gilbert. You can go to Amazon and type in my name, and all of my books will come up, and the book is there. It was originally called the APL Product Nutritional Health Guide, but the FDA apparently said that even though it was fully compliant, because I know the FDA laws very, very well, I've dealt with them for 40 years, and all of my writings and all my my clients and teachings, I've always had to protect the fact that I'm not a doctor, but I'm an educator, of these botanicals for my clients and for my audiences and students. But yes, you have to be able to make sure that you're getting the right information. But yeah, just go to Amazon and type in my name or the title of the book. It's also available on my website, holisticchoices.com. But if you Google my name, Mary Esther Gilbert, all of my videos, my website, everything I do on the internet will appear there for you.
Thank you, Mary.
Oh, by the way, if I might add, on my YouTube channel, again, on YouTube, type in my name and my YouTube channel will come right up. I did produce an educational video on how to recognize scientific data and how to understand the scientific data. So if you want to know more about how to determine the validity of a scientific paper or someone's assertion on the internet, talking about the science that sometimes they say, well, this scientific paper says such and such, and so that's why our product is so wonderful. But that has been done so much, but and apparently they aren't really backing themselves up with true scientific data or insufficient data. So sometimes that can be misinformation. So be very careful when you're out there.
Okay. Thank you so much. Lesedi Senelo.
Evening, Mary. How are you?
Good evening, Lissetti. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Mary, I just wanted to check. You just struck a conversation when you were talking about how they simulate the thunder striking to create the negative anions in the product. Excuse me. My question is, how does that process have an expiry date once encapsulated in the drops, both for the negative anions and the botanicals? Do they have a shelf life? And does storage, the way that they're stored, have an effect on that?
Excellent question. So I understand they have a 1-year shelf life because of the hardened sugar coating, and that maintains the viability of the active enzymes and the active compounds from the plants, the negatively charged particles. It's like any fresh food. You know, if you buy a fresh fruit or vegetable, it will deteriorate due to the enzyme action and its reaction to the oxygen in the air. So all those things decompose naturally, you know, things in nature. So the plants and the botanicals in the drops do have a 1-year expiration date because of the coating, the protective coating. They also have citric acid, which is a natural preservative the body produces in the energy production cycle at the cell level. So the citric acid is a very, very safe and natural way of preserving nutrients in foods, and it's been known in the food industry for many, many years. So that also helps to preserve the shelf life and the viability of the drops. And so storage, I live in Arizona in the USA, so it's very hot here 9 months out of the year, and I would imagine that certain parts of Africa are extremely hot too. I know you've got deserts out there like we do, but so refrigeration is the excellent way to store your drops. They're not exposed to oxygen, of course, when they're packaged, but when you start using them and you open up the packages, it's best to store them in the refrigerator so that it maintains their viability, and also they don't melt. You know, the sugar will melt and you'll have this mass of, you know, several drops together. So it's important to keep them refrigerated.
Thanks, Mary. Just a follow-up question on that. And I'm also trying to maybe get to understand from the day the product is made to the period of the 12 months, is it, I know that obviously it's a 12-month shelf life, but would you, just in your professional opinion, say that they're more effective within, you know, the first weeks of being made, for example, as opposed to the last 10 to 12 months of their shelf life, just as as being effective products of use?
Great question too. Yes, just like any viable active food, you want to eat them as soon as possible, but they do have that extra shelf life protection from the hard coating on the outside. So I would use them up within 3 months. You know, that would, unless you refrigerate them all, then you're going to extend that shelf life to well over 6 months. You know, I don't know about a full year, but yeah, if you keep them refrigerated or even in the freezer, that would extend the life certainly for a year. You know, so yeah, you can freeze foods without heating them up. Of course, sometimes frozen foods are flash heated in hot water, and then to preserve the structure, you know, and then they are frozen. But I wouldn't recommend heating the the drops at all, because heat destroys all the viability.
Thank you so much. I think that was the freezer part is something that we never heard of, and I'm looking forward to doing that, especially with some of the supplements that you have that people don't buy as often as you would like them to. So if we want to extend their lifespan, why not freeze them? It's just that sometimes, yes, when you sell it to somebody, they would look at the expiry date and might think twice about it. But if you are going to use them with your family members, then you know that you are still using something that will be able to assist you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
That was very informative.
I do need to add a clause to that. You don't really want to freeze them, you know, because that does diminish their viability, but
Okay.
it'll extend their shelf life. But I really don't recommend freezing them as much as refrigerating them. Refrigerating them is the ideal temperature. When the products are produced and they're distributed to the warehouses, those are temperature controlled to maintain the nutrients, or they should be. I know in the United States they are, but so yeah, keep that in mind. Use the drops when they're freshest and they're most potent, and you'll get the most benefit out of them.
All right. We do have Mula or Moola. I'm not sure how to
Yes,
pronounce your name. Yes.
Mula means money.
Okay.
Mula
No problem.
Kasuthu
Okay,
means money. Yes. Good evening, all of you colleagues, and Mary and you, Aus Matlakala. And I don't have a question. Only thing that I have a testimony. I want to
Great.
share, yes, I want to share my personal testimony as I use the Miracle Suite today. First time in my life even to know about these Miracle Suites.
We are listening.
Yes. Thank you very much, Matlakala, to visit me today at Cresta Northcliffe. As I explain all my problems to you, then you help me to take me through to all product one by one, one by one. Thank you very much. God bless you for the time that you gave me today. My personal testimony for today, as I use the Miracle Suites for the first time, I'm diabetic and I'm 50 years old. Then I ran away to carry on with my tablets from my doctor. The reason why I ran away, because of I know about the side effect of the drugs, and I was using other natural products. Till today, God sent Matlakala to me. Then Matlakala gave me these sweets, and I was not sure that is a sweet or is a thing that can heal me. But today I have a personal testimony that for the sickness that I have, I was already having the cramps in my legs, in my feet, and my feet always getting dry. And even to show that the blood circulation is not flowing regular in a right way. But today, my surprise is I feel something different in my body. I feel the blood circulation in my legs. I feel the blood circulation in my feet. And the pain that I was having, all the pain, they are quiet. So I want to say, Matlakala and the team, please let's push this business, let's teach people. And for the first time in my life to use these miracle tablets, I'm very, very, very happy. Even though I missed the training, Mary's training, because since you gone, Mary, from my Matlakala from my house, I was still sleeping. I just wake up just now. So thank you very much for your time. My testimony is that, and I believe God will be all of us and help us to get more strength and go out and help other people. And God bless you more, Matlakala, for your time. I believe today I have a solution for my life. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Lula. Thank you so much. So happy for you.
Thank you.
I think this is very overwhelming, not for me only, I think for all of us. We do have Sonia on the message side. She's asking what would be a good combination for cervix and prostate cancers?
Okay, so we can't make medical claims for the products, of course, but knowing how they improve the functioning of the immune system and how they help the body detoxify all of the different substances that cause the malfunctioning and the damage of our cells in the body. And eventually the cells, when they become damaged, they're continuing the replication process. And so sometimes cancers can form. Our immune system is usually able to take care of abnormal cells, and the immune system attacks and destroys or disables or disassembles anything that's abnormal cells forming in the body. And so yeah, it's important to maintain a high plant content in the diet, and the drops are very important for consolidating so many different plant chemicals, from all these different plants. So yeah, it's important to just maintain the immune system and maintain your system, detoxify. I don't advocate anything harsh for detoxification, but if your diet is good and you're constantly nourishing your body and you're taking the drops, then you're going to have the gradual and gentle and very thorough cleansing daily.
Thank you, ma'am. Another question is from Jay Ntutu. How safe are the drops if someone has foreign objects in his or her body? I think they are referring to maybe the metal plates.
Sorry, can you repeat the question? How safe are they?
How safe are the drops when somebody or someone has foreign objects in their body?
Okay, so foreign substances, whether they're invasive bacteria, viruses, parasites, fungi, all those different microorganisms that when the body becomes weak and the immune system becomes weak are attacking the body. Of course, the synthetic chemicals that we're exposed to from everywhere, unless you're eating all organic and you're trying to stay away from any synthetic chemicals in the body care, products and that kind of thing. Industrial chemicals in the workplace, cleaning products in the household, all that must be removed and changed to things that are not damaging to the body. So all those things are foreign. The immune system has to deal with it. And so these phytochemicals really help to cleanse and detoxify and carry away so many of those compounds that are causing such havoc in the body, in all the different systems. They affect the hormones, they affect the reproductive system, they affect the immune system. The body's always trying to eliminate them in one way or another, but having these plant compounds present in the bloodstream, will always make that job much more efficient and protect your body.
Sorry, Mary, they were talking about foreign objects. I think, I'm not sure, but if I understand the question correctly, for example, if somebody has metal plates in their body due to maybe an accident or whatever, how safe are the drops if those people are about to use them?
Oh yeah, I don't see any problem because these are so recognizable, and the cells that are living, the rest of the body is going to utilize these nutrients. So the medical profession should, I'm sure that they use metals that the body is not going to reject, or metals that are not toxic. I hope not. I heard that they're titanium, which is the best and safest metal, I suppose, to put in the body like that. So I wouldn't think so, but just double check with your medical, provider just in case.
Okay. Thank you. I think I saw the last question, and if we do not have any other leaders who would wish to ask some questions, I do believe that we can release you. We are very thankful. So Andisa then came back to explain or to give us a follow-up question. And her question was all about the FDA. So she's saying, thank you for the response. The question on guarantees was in view of the FDA laws, the FTC Act, and the FTC's stance on health guarantees, navigating overlaps.
So she wants to know how those laws are affecting how we do business, or I don't understand. Can you clarify that a little bit?
Can I, Andisa, do you mind maybe unmuting yourself to give us clarity?
Sure. No, thank you very much for the presentation. I think you've already answered the question on medical claims. I was just explaining why I had to bring that question up. In the medical claims you have alluded to, it's in some countries like Australia, they are referred to as guarantees, where a supplier claims certain that goods contain certain properties or healing properties in this case. So you have already repeatedly alluded to the fact that you are in the States, you are not allowed to make medical claims or guarantees of healing properties. So that's a separate issue, that's a comment. Then the issue on the overlaps was a question that I think, because I asked many questions, wasn't really answered the first time around. I'm not a leader. I was invited to the presentation, and thank you. So I just needed, as I was listening through your presentation, what I heard was that many of the products that you explained, they appeared to me, somebody who's probably hearing this for the first time, to cut across certain systems. So I was just wondering, as a consumer, how would I make a choice? Thank you.
Okay, great question. Thank you. First of all, the human cell, is important to nourish that, and so things are happening at the micro cell level. So plant DNA to human DNA, that's basically what we do when we digest our food. And so we're breaking them down to that minute component to fit those nutrients down, to the fatty acids, the amino acids, the glucose molecule. All those things are the result of complete digestion from our foods. So those fit through the cell membrane, they enter the cell, and they, they do their work. They do their repair work, and they nourish and energize the cell and keep the perpetual life in motion. So I hope that answers that part about the cell. But as far as the, I'm sorry, I have to put my glasses back on. I made a note. Oh, yes. So pansystemic, that means that the body is going to utilize so many of these botanicals in so many different ways. And so trying to decide which drop you want, you really can't go wrong. It's kind of like Chinese medicine from what I've learned in my education. Botanicals are so versatile, and the body will use what it needs. And plants are pretty much 100% utilizable in the body. So we use every single bit of it. So, you can't really go wrong. But a lot of these botanicals, in my research, I found that they are associated with certain body systems and certain chain reactions in the body, like improving the immune system or reducing pain and inflammation, or improving the way the brain works, or improving the hormonal system, improving digestion. All these different drops are named accordingly. So like HPR, it has botanicals that help the liver detoxify. And so there's more scientific research on those particular botanicals than say the same botanical in other areas of the body. So that, I think that's why the people who did the scientific research to put these botanicals together, I salute them, because to me, they obviously did their scientific homework. So it's just a matter of understanding the drops and learning about the botanicals and what they do in the body. So you just go by the name of the product, and you'll be able to address the very issue that it's named for. There's no medical claims or anything for these products. But if we stick to what's happening at the cell level and not name, curing a specific organ or system, or any organ within a system, we can talk about the entire system, which includes many organs, individual systems in the body that work in synergy. So, we can talk about the different systems and what those systems are composed of, like in the skeletal system, we've got the bones and the teeth kind of thing. So if we stick to that, then we should be okay. But if anyone says, well, how do you know there's any science behind it? That's why I wrote the book. That's why you have many, I didn't count them in the book. There must be at least 2,000 scientific references throughout the entire book to justify, you know, the bullet points of claims and descriptions that are in there. They appear to be medical claims, but they're not really. When they're backed by what scientists have discovered, then you'll know that that's what they discovered. And so when you try the botanical and the results match what the scientific research has found, that's not really making medical claims. It's just describing how the body works and how nutrients work in the body.
Thank you so much, Mary. I, for one, my heart is full with the knowledge that I have received today. And I don't think a thank you is enough to give to you. But I think when it comes from the bottom of our hearts, you can also feel it from where you are. And we really do appreciate this. If there's other leaders who have the last few questions, I think we have been with Mary for almost 2 hours now. Leaders, if you have those pressing questions, please come forward and ask. I think it's fair to, when you are done and you are happy, it's fair to say goodbye to Mary, and we can also continue with what we were doing before the presentation. Anyone else who has a comment or a question?
Yeah, I've got one.
Absolutely, go for it.
I've been working behind the scenes. Great, good evening. Thank you, Mary, for this wonderful opportunity. I think it's quite important to know that you always learn something every day. You know, so when you've got a teachable and coachable spirit, it's always easier because you'll be able to absorb such information. So just for me, it's not a question, it's just to appreciate you, because you're sort of teaching us all over again about the different systems of the body. And you know, also you were talking about something that I'm passionate about, which is about spring water, because you're not just drinking anything that you're drinking just because it's water. You need to drink what is right for you to drink. Same as eating, you need to eat what is right for you to eat. Unfortunately, some of these things we know about, but somehow we just choose not to do them. But yeah, hopefully as we learn every day, as we talk and communicate on these platforms, we sort of supporting one another so that we can be able to say there is hope out there and there is an alternative. And I always say it's not an alternative for sure, but the way we live life nowadays, even the right things are sort of like an alternative, though they should be automatic kind of a situation. So I just wanted to appreciate you, and we're really looking forward to having you again, maybe to break down the different products now, maybe, you know, but I'm in this journey, and I will be tuning in every time you come on board, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I speak from the heart, and I have a passion, I have a mission to help humanity become healthful. And when we raise our vibrational frequencies at the light quantum energy level by having a healthier body, then we have more access and more awareness and more, better perceptions. We're better able to make this world a better place. You become a light, you know, to others around you. When a person is healthy, they've got this certain thing about them that people are attracted to. They become irresistibly attracted to someone, you know, not romantically necessarily, but they just want to be around that person. You know, it's just an automatic attraction that happens. So I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, Nidiebo. What a wonderful, you all have such wonderful names. Is that how you pronounce your name, Nidiebo? Don't know how to pronounce his name, but anyway.
you'll bite yourself. This is a click from a Xhosa language in South Africa. It's Ndiebo, but you can say Ndiebo as if you are spelling it. Thank you so much.
Okay. Oh, I love languages. It's just amazing. So anyway, and getting back to what you said, Fetsang, it's in my heart too. I speak from the heart, from the passion that keeps propelling me and keeps learning and keep wanting to share this information with the world. And I really appreciate having a platform where I can teach people using such amazing products. I'm very picky about products. People who have been friends with me for many years, they know better than to say, what about this product? You know, they say, you know, what about that product? And over the years, they've learned that this product better be good because I've examined so many ingredients and so many products over the years. And the drops have this very unique technology in being able to maintain that infusion of all of these amazing healing botanicals and the negatively charged particles, that makes it even more unique than ever. So I'm very happy to be here, and I'm happy to come back whenever you need me to.
Thank you. Last question from Mama Busi Mahua. Mambosi.
Good evening, everybody, and
Hi, Busi.
thank you, Mary, for this teaching. As you say, we've got passion. We have teachable hearts that are flowing here. Thank you so much. And what I want to ask is, what would make a person react when you've given them a drop? Like, for instance, I have a person who's diabetic, and I gave them NOM and MLS, and they reacted like they were dizzy and they threw up, and
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm only catching like every other word. For some reason, you sound muffled to me right now. I'm going to have to ask you to repeat it. I didn't want to interrupt you and be rude, but I only think. Go ahead.
Okay, I was asking what would make a person react after you've given them the drops. The person is diabetic, and I gave them NOM and MNS. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we
You
can.
gave them NORM and what other product?
MLS.
MLS. Okay.
Yes.
For a diabetic.
Yes.
Okay. And what were the results? Sorry, go ahead.
They reacted. Yes, the sugar levels are down. The blood pressure is down also, but they reacted. So I normally say to the person, it's because maybe it was just not detoxing and stuff like that, because we're taking high drugs of diabetes and high blood pressure. Maybe they were, but I just want to find out if I'm right saying that.
Well, if they're getting the results that the blood pressure went down and their blood sugar was able to be maintained, those are very, very good signs. And so you can be sure that, as a direct result after taking those drops is probably the drops that are working to do this. But yeah, again, you don't want to overdo it. It's not necessarily, if something is good that you should take more of. But in this case, the plant chemicals are so compatible with the body that, if that 3-year-old child can eat a whole box and get benefit of it and have no negative side effects other than a deep cleanse, kind of thing. I've seen this happen with diabetics where their blood sugar is regulated, but it doesn't mean that they can eat foods that will elevate their blood sugar either. So a lot of people make that mistake as well. They think, well, the drops will keep them safe. But the drops will definitely improve everything, but it's like taking a step backward or two if the body is not receiving the other right nutrients that the body needs to maintain itself.
Are you answered, Mambosi?
I'm not too sure, because I just want to find out what will in the body of the person, what will make them react to the. I understand that. I'm happy that the sugar levels and the blood pressure was normal and normalized, but why would the person react?
So there was a reaction.
What do you mean by react? Because it can either react positively or react negatively.
No, like for instance, I'm saying the person vomited, the person was dizzy.
Oh, dizzy and vomiting. Oh, okay. So I think that's
so
the information we were missing. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. Okay, yeah, I have the, for some reason it wasn't coming out clearly. I'm so sorry. But yeah, if a person's reacting that way, then they need to be checked medically. There's something going on there. When I have a client with problems like that and they have been to their medical doctors, I have a whole lot of questions that I need to gather, to understand their background and what's been happening, their medical history, their dietary habits, you know, their life, everything, all those things come together in order to understand what the whole body is going through. But if there's some severe reaction like that, then they need to be medically checked immediately.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mary.
Thank you so much.
Mambusi, yes, I would love to add on to that as well. Mambusi, I think if you still remember some of the sessions we had with Dr. Bulatov, he said sometimes you would give somebody, let's say, for example, you said you gave them MLS, and there's one ingredient in MLS that does not going to stay well in their system. So I think when we give people some of the supplements as well, we need to ask them if they are allergic maybe to some of the fruits, herbs, and vegetables that are on the sweets. If they are, then you need to give them something that does not have whatever that they are allergic to. So maybe the person reacted negatively because there is something in MLS that was not agreeing with their body at that moment.
Okay, Futsang, I'll check, because she even went to the doctor and sent me all the results. They even took some blood tests. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a complex response like that. But in my research over the many years, the research that, of course, it was in-depth research, taken many studies over time, the peer-reviewed studies. I never saw very much allergic reaction to the phytochemical compounds in the drops. So there's only a couple of botanicals in a couple of the drops, and it's not in the MLS, that there are some precautions, you know, that the scientists have found, and I also included that in the book. But as far as I can tell, the NRM and the MLS, I haven't seen anything that would cause that. But again, it's a compound problem, and there could be a lot of other things that contributed to that issue. And I hope that's resolved soon.
I think she will give us more feedback on that. And if there is a pressing issue, Mambusi, we will tackle it here, and we will see how we can help deal with it, so that in future we know and understand how to deal with issues like this. If we do not have anything from other leaders, not that I'm saying please say anything, it's 9:01 in South Africa. I would really love to say thank you once again for being with us, for accepting the invite, and for giving us all the information that you have gathered. We did say that we appreciate it, not only for today, but we would appreciate this going forward. And it's good to see that this company manages to attract a lot of people of high caliber, for these people to come into the company, because it is the product that actually speaks to each and every one of us. And like I said, what you were doing before APLGO, with what APLGO is all about, for me, is just marriage made in heaven, because it makes you fall in love more with what you have been doing. And with that knowledge from the company and what you are doing, this is something you take out to people, to teach them, to heal them, and to also make them understand where this company comes from and what is it that this company wants to achieve going forward. And to have people like you and all the other leaders that are going to teach us on this journey, I think it is marvelous. We can only say thank you and look forward to what this company is going to do for all of us. I'm not sure if there's anyone who would want to add anything, but from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. We really do appreciate the time we spent with you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my honor, and it allows me to share this kind of healing information to the world. So I'm happy to be here, and I really appreciate it too. So thank you so much.
at least from now on, we can start telling people that we had one of the best sessions with you. And when they start Googling who you are, credibility that we're going to have is more than what I can imagine. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you too.
All right.
Good night, everyone.
Yes. Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.